On BeerBiceps, we're all about fitness science, and we'll get to that later. But first, let's do a bit of a rewind. I used to be of the opinion that the supplement industry is the biggest villain in the fitness industry, but I'm gonna reframe that sentence. It's the marketing wing of supplement industries that's the biggest villain in the fitness industry. Great marketing is when you can convince your market that they need a product even when they don't really need that product. And that's exactly what's happened with BCAAs. There's trainers, there's fitness influencers, and above all, there's gym bros all over the country chugging down BCAAs like it's their savior. But the truth of the matter is that you do not need BCAAs to put on muscle mass. In today's video, with the help of fitness science, I'm going to justify this point. So let's get straight to the science. BCAAs stand for branch chain amino acids. Let's go back to school for a minute. You keep reading that proteins are the building blocks of life. Any kind of damage in your body, in order to repair it, or if you want your body to grow, you have to consume proteins. Now, when you consume any form of proteins, it's basically made up of these amino acids. And when your body consumes them, it breaks it down into these amino acids. And eventually those amino acids are reconverted into proteins in your body in order to be utilized by your muscle or whatever part needs repair. Now let's talk about BCAA supplementation. So BCAAs are a combination of three of these amino acids, which are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Now, supplement companies and people who vouch for the use of BCAAs will tell you that there are a few strong arguments to prove that you need BCAAs. The core of the argument is that BCAAs are a broken down form of protein and they get absorbed very fast into your body. Argument number one is that unlike real protein, BCAAs don't pass through the liver pathway. They're not metabolized in the liver. Instead, they're metabolized directly in the muscle. So in simple terms, your recovery is faster because your muscle immediately utilizes all those BCAAs. Now, here's where science comes into play. What you've got to understand is that if your regular diet is full of protein, your bloodstream already has those amino acids to help your muscles recover during your workout. That's also why we promote the idea of consuming some amount of protein in your pre-workout meal, so that your body already has that fuel tank to look back to. But a lot of people think that just by consuming that BCAA, that awesome tasting BCAA, they're gonna have faster muscle recovery. But science says otherwise. The only condition you'll need to consume BCAAs as a supplement is if you're working out on an empty stomach where you need that immediate absorption of those amino acids, or if you've been starving for 1 or 2 days and your glycogen stores in your muscles are low and your energy levels are low overall. You need immediate fuel, you have BCAAs. But for the regular person, a regular gymmer who lifts weights and who follows a high protein diet, your muscles have enough fuel already. You don't need that external BCAA supplement. Argument number two is this mathematical formula. The rate of putting on muscle is equal to the rate of protein synthesis minus the rate of protein breakdown. So people will tell you that especially if you're cutting, if you're trying to get shredded, your body's in a caloric deficit. And if you're in a caloric deficit, your rate of protein synthesis is low. Now for your rate of muscle mass to be high, the first factor needs to be high and the second factor needs to be low. That's the first thing you've got to understand. So people tell you that supplementing with BCAAs will increase your rate of protein synthesis. But there is a counter argument. Now, the counter argument is that there's not a single study that proves a one-to-one relation between the rate of protein synthesis and consumption of BCAA supplements. Now, there was this one study done that did show a relation. It did show that the rate of protein synthesis increases with the rate of BCAA intake. But here's what you've got to know. Okay, so any study that happens to prove something about a supplement happens with one group of athletes who take that particular supplement and another group of athletes that don't use that particular supplement. After a certain time period of training and all that, they'll measure how the rate of protein synthesis changes with and without the use of the supplement. And the first group of athletes, the ones that did use the BCAAs, did show an increase in the rate of protein synthesis, but here's what you need to know. Firstly, there was no tab kept on the diets of the athletes. Secondly, the athletes also consumed citrulline, malate, and glutamine supplements. And the third and most important point was that this entire study was funded by a supplement company that manufactures BCAA supplements. Kind of fishy? I think so too, but you can check out this article that I'm going to link in the description below if you want to know more about this study. Okay, and the third argument is that BCAAs delay the feeling of fatigue during a workout. Now here's what happens during a workout. So there's this amino acid in your bloodstream that's called tryptophan. And during a workout, tryptophan goes to your brain and gets converted into serotonin, a hormone. Serotonin has the side effect where you get the feeling of fatigue during a workout. So if you're supplementing with BCAAs, what happens is that BCAAs compete with the tryptophan for entry into your brain and delays the formation of serotonin, which delays the feeling of fatigue during your workout. But the counter argument is exactly that. This is just a feeling of fatigue. Any long-term gymmer, anyone who's been gymming for say about a year to 2 years continuously, will always tell you that nobody feels tired at the end of a workout. In fact, you get more into it. You don't really feel fatigued. The only time you need to supplement with BCAAs in order to delay this onset of fatigue is in two cases. The first is that if you're an endurance athlete and you're training for marathon running or long distance walking or running, you need to supplement with BCAAs to kind of make you feel less tired 2 or 3 hours into your workout. And the second case is if you're on steroids. If you're on steroids, your workouts in the gym have to last for 2 to 3 hours, and that's when there's a possibility of feeling fatigued. So to delay that onset of fatigue, BCAAs are great if you're on gear. But if you're a natural, once again, you don't feel that much fatigue for BCAAs to delay it. So to conclude today's video, unless you're someone who's using steroids or someone who's an endurance athlete, or if you're working out on a completely empty stomach, you do not need to supplement with BCAAs. BCAA supplements are very expensive, and for the amount of money you're paying, it's not making that much of a difference to your end goal. If you want to spend money on supplements, stick to the standard whey protein and creatine supplements. Very cheap, very effective, and they'll actually make a difference to your end goal. Keep that in mind. Now to end today's video, I just want to show you how the fitness industry works. So in the description, I'm going to link 2 articles. The first is an article from this famous bodybuilding website where they've actually promoted the use of BCAAs without backing it with any studies. They've just said that, oh, recent studies have shown that so and so happens. In the second article, it's a little more scientific. They go into the details of the research papers and they prove how BCAAs aren't really needed if you're an average gymmer. But this is the difference in these 2 websites. The first is great marketing, and at the end of the article, they're linking you to the shop on that website. And the second article isn't written for the average person. It's written for people who are familiar with scientific terms. But what I'd suggest is if you want to see how the fitness industry works, go through these articles in detail and look at how the fitness industry is manipulating you and manipulating your thought processes in order to make some extra amount of money. Unfortunately, this is the truth about the fitness industry all over the world. But it's 2017 and it's all about empowering you through YouTube. So I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you want to know a little bit more about supplements, make sure you check out my videos on how to save money on supplements. If you want to know more about training programs, make sure you check out my video on the science of building muscle mass. Until next time guys, from Ranveer, I hope you guys liked today's video. I will see you later.